Hi everyone, my name is Katya, to are you? Welcome back to my channel. It's my favorite part of the day, the 5 something p.m. And these 3 days I spent watching a series that I loved a lot. Oh my god, it's called The Perfect Couple. I don't know if you saw it as well. But yeah, it's just so thoughtful. And I'm learning how to use it for my social media as well to keep this attention of someone going, and it's crazy. But today I wanted to share a couple of things of the Russian personality that I'd like you to know if for you it's important to work with Russian people, and that maybe sometimes you don't understand the way of communicating and what expects you and how to react. To start off, I will give you an example of a friend of mine who also went with me to Chicago. Two years back, we went there for a program called, well, that year it still was called Russian Business Leaders, and we basically went to different cities around the US, and I still have this cover saying soon in Chicago. Well, it was kind of a stress for me to live there in general, like it was a stressful month for me. Basically of some instability that I didn't know what I would be doing when I come back, and I don't know, I just for some reason was feeling that way. But there was one thing I wanted to learn, and as I work in marketing, as I work in sales, and all the social media content in the context of sales, and I have a very strong personal brand, and it kind of all the time went super naturally. And now it's hard for me even to realize that maybe it's a new step for me, that before I was doing this just like with my gut feelings and with something like kind of intuition that I had. So it means that I have this type of personality and mindset that is good for this kind of job, right? Because the Trans-Siberian trip, the way that I put it, and that there were 3 people coming all the way from London to do this trip when I had no reputation, no company, no name, no nothing. Even my website back then was made on this free platform, Jimdo whatever. Yeah, it wasn't like you know, the proper website name. And now I see, I like look back at myself, and I am very surprised with the way that I was doing things really in the right way. So now it's kind of the next stage where I have to realize that and do it more consciously, because it's a totally different story when you have to like kind of convince your friends to do something, sell them an idea, and they don't have to pay, or maybe like they are your friends, they would accept anyway. And it's another story when it's no one that owes nothing to you, and like it's not, you know, it doesn't have to say yes or no, and there you have to know how to sell these ideas. And this is what I learned when I was in Chicago. And the situation I want to refer to was when we were having this business Friday. So throughout the week we worked. We had like an internship in a company. In my case, I was working for a small school in the south of Chicago, and I was kind of preparing for them a program of how to learn Spanish for their students. Yeah, and Fridays were like, as part of the program, we did some company visits. We went to some political debates. It was crazy to be there present. We went to but debates like local level, and then yeah, sometimes company visits. And so we were there visiting this ice making company, and so we went there. There was this huge space, we were seeing the production, and the person who was working there, I don't remember if he was a director or manager, and he was just doing the social thing. So we were there like 5 or 6 people, and he would address this or that person, asking questions. And my friend Nadia, who was living with me at the same floor. We were 3 students in Chicago, well, fellows, and she didn't know how to react. He was doing like the social thing, asking her, I don't remember whether like the way she was feeling and what she thought about the excursion, maybe something like that. And she would answer just with one word, and then she would smile because she didn't know what he was asking it for. And then we went to the bathroom, to the ladies' room, and she would be like pissed off. She was not angry, but she was bothered because she didn't understand, like, why would you say something like that? And I'm saying this with all the respect. It's just the cultural differences, the thing that we don't know about each other and we have to learn. But in this case, she was more like, she had less international experience. She even didn't see the point of a person doing that. So I was telling her that, look, it was his interest to connect with you, and to connect with you more personally, to ask about how you were feeling. And she was like, I don't know him, or that it was not an appropriate question. So just she didn't understand why. So maybe there are things that you could also share in comments, whether you have Russian friends or Russian speaking friends, and maybe sometimes there are cultural aspects that you would like to know and maybe open up and try to understand them better, right? Because it's very easy for everyone to say, this is weird. And it's a brave step to say, okay, let me see, let me investigate that, let me shut up and be curious about that person, that kind of people. This would be very good for our international communication, and it would be way more effective. So some of the characteristics of the Russians that I'd like you to know. First of all, it is the fear to the unknown. Yeah, this explains the way people address you, and the first time you talk to them. So the normality is that we don't have the culture of the small talk. So if someone writes to you, texts you, or talks to you, it's because there is a point behind. So the social interaction of small talk is not a culture here. Nowadays a bit more, in Moscow way more, but still I don't think everyone gets the point of that, right? Even myself, today I talked to taxist, I talked to a waitress you call, right? The girl who who works at a restaurant, and it's a super normal thing, but obviously as a normal Russian I wouldn't know that before. So you should know that the first interaction and breaking the ice takes a little bit longer. So for you, you actually can be smarter and in this way more intelligent, emotionally more intelligent sometimes, and kind of helping the person derretir, Spanish is here, kind of the ice melts, kind of to melt, right? And how do you do that? Well, basically not getting too personal too early, so giving the person a space, right? So with someone as me, if you feel the person has international, at least knows languages, this helps a lot, because by languages we learn other cultures. But if not, give them more time and space. So here it works that the unknown makes them feel not very good, so take your time to be closer to them. And then when they feel the connection, they will become your best friends. Not necessarily, but at least they would be very open and kind. The other thing is the type of society. There is this term called feminine versus masculine society, and it doesn't have to do with the, the machismo thing or who has the power. It's a different thing. It's a type of conduct. Overall, there are societies who are more competitive, so for whom the success means a lot. Here it's more feminine culture, which means that it's more historically, maybe overall, again, it depends I'd say a big city is like a different country. Yeah, I'm very competitive, and it becomes more, unfortunately, more individualized and separate in a way. It's not a good thing for families and institutes like friendship, right? But anyway, the society still, if you go and travel around the country, it will be more feminine in a way that people tend to care about others, to create a community, and to, you know, be softer. Another aspect, in total there are six. Also, there is this power distance. And yeah, it has to do with horizontal versus vertical structures, and it comes from history. Just some things work better taken or given the history. So here, it's not like in Asia, for example, where like in Korea you, I don't know, you bow to a person who's your boss or whoever is older. Not like that, but still there is respect, which is shown with this patronymic, which is the father's name. So if you address someone as вы, you formal, right? You add this special word which makes it sound more formal. If my name is Ekaterina, you would say Ekaterina Sergeyevna. So this is the way to address people you don't know in polite form. I think that would be it for today. Let me know in comments whether it was interesting. If yes, I'll continue with the next part. What it means to you, well, consider those factors and analyze the person who's your interlocutor next time you talk to someone, because people are interesting if you, well, take them as a subject to investigate. And start with yourself, obviously.